Hello. Um, I did this once before and I made a mistake and I did not save my highlights before I closed my window. So I'm gonna do this without my highlights and it'll be okay. Um, so I went first off. I was reading about self-efficacy and academic achievement, and it says that do 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 it basically says that, uh, or my understanding of it is that children's high academic efficacy was associated with strong pro socialness, which was associated with high popularity. That's on page 354 of the text. Um, a condition relating to low problem behavior and high achievement. My husband is a high school teacher, and it has been my experience just from listening to various things, and I don't want to tattle on anybody, but popular kids aren't necessarily the best pro-social kids. They don't always lack problematic behavior. Um, and I remember that from when I was in high school too. So I decided to look, and I did a Google Scholar search under UMGC, and um, I found this article, Understanding the Role of Pro-Social Behavior in Youth Mental Health. It's a meta-analysis of several different studies. They looked at the aim to, well, of course I can't find it. The key concepts is related to mental health, mental well-being, mental health outcomes such as resiliency, self-efficacy, stress and coping, self-esteem, social cohesion, quality of life, and mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, and emotional disturbance, um, and helping others. You know, how does altruism, volunteering, giving, community engagement, how does that affect kids? And they looked at kids from 10 to 24 years old, with or without mental health issues, and it shows how they lowered the results. Most of the studies were from the US, 16 from Great Britain, 13 from the Netherlands, 15 from Australia, 10 from Canada, 11 from China, so kind of from all over. The majority of them were mixed genders, and they looked at the relationship of helping others and mental health outcomes, um, factors for youth to engage in help facilitators and barriers for youth to engage in helping others, and then the impact of the interventions. They didn't find very many studies that had that that it discussed. Uh, so it makes sense that these things would help people engage in pro-social behavior, physical activities outside of the school, extracurricular activities, you know, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, church activities, you know, things that encourage you to be involved in the community activity. Physical activity. For some reason, those who are more physically active are more likely to be pro-social. Personal, social, school, family status, social status, healthcare, and location. The physical activities one. I'm not a good exerciser, so that just makes me feel guilty. Personal traits such as, you know, having a willingness already to help others, having a high moral identity, self-efficacy, character strengths, resilience, gratitude. All of these things were factors in expressing pro-social attitudes, which makes sense. Spiritual and religious perspectives also were facilitators for pro-social behaviors. And these things kind of just make sense. Of course, positive parenting, positive family factors encourage pro-social behaviors. Perceptions of social status to young people also play a role. Popularity, young people with high social status, social integration, absorption, a lower degree of influence in class, all these things can affect it, but they felt that maybe, I'll read it later. Competition with friends during adolescence decreased as pro-social behavior towards friends increased. The more that you learn to cooperate instead of compete, the more likely you're going to be pro-social towards one another. Being non-incarcerated. Some barriers that they found, of course, back to the personal factors. They found mixed conclusions about females and pro-social behavior. Life satisfaction, growth, social anxiety, anger were negatively correlated with giving and pro-social behavior. That makes sense. You know, if you're unhappy, if you're anxious, if you're just an angry person, then it makes sense that you would maybe not be so pro-social. Family factors, lower maternal warmth, stress in the family can all negatively impact it. Problematic mobile phone use was negatively associated with selfless attitudes. That's like 90% of the kids today can't pay attention to things beyond themselves and their selfies. That is a very, very, very jaded point of view. I'm sorry. Hedonistic and risk behavior. If you're only thinking about yourself, you're only wanting to have fun, then you're not going to be very pro-social, I wouldn't think. And I was one of those youth, by the way. So they looked at some different interventions that they did, and who it affected. The only three that didn't really have much improvement was this one called Open Minds, a school-based resiliency intervention, and a trauma-focused CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. But the positive outcomes, life satisfaction, positive emotions, there's that self-efficacy again, lower levels of mental health challenges, increase in social behavior, pro-social behavior. And the biggest one was life satisfaction. People seem to have a lot of positive life satisfaction after helping people, which makes sense. You know, helping others generally makes you feel good. They also played a role in improving the learning of young people. Like when they learn about their communities, they learn about other diverse cultures, learn about teamwork. You know, all those things can make you want to cooperate more. Let's see, negative outcomes. And we pointed those out in the chart above. So there's lots of positives. There are a few negatives. They found that kids who are forced to take care of somebody have less feelings of pro-social behaviors, and that's probably because of the stress of having to take care of somebody. You know, you're a kid, you're not supposed to have to take care of anybody. They're supposed to take care of you in an ideal world. Let's see. people who have mental health conditions, while they say that helping others can increase mental health conditions, if you already have problems such as depression and anxiety, you're probably not going to want to be as pro-social. You're kind of worried about your own feeling badly and such. So that's definitely a barrier. Has impacts beyond individual youth and change social networks. There's happiness, positive self-identity, morale. It says that one study found that positive school experiences and the characteristics of schools were not related to young people engaging in pro-social behavior. And that could be because of other environmental factors that kids have to deal with on a daily basis. That's what I was trying to say earlier. It also said that kids who experienced discrimination went on to experience an impact from that on their pro-social behavior for up to a year later. That's pretty significant. It said, again, extracurricular activities are a big way. My husband's, he's a robotics coach, and part of their whole program that they do, they're in FIRST Robotics. It's I don't know, like a league kind of. They have to do a lot of community service as part of the robotics thing. They build a package every year and they compete against each other. And part of the competition is to be helpful. So it talks about things that are pro-social with school, which again, it's a contrast to that one study that said it doesn't always help. Family structure is a big deal. Parenting styles. Parents need to prioritize pro-social behavior over achievement, or put achievement and pro-social as both. It's not just about getting good grades. It's about being helpful while you do it. I was going to say something, but I can't remember what it was. What the factors? The mixed review of the genders, and with mental health, the educational, psychosocial mindfulness, and act of kindness interventions had a huge positive impact on youth, such as life satisfaction, experiencing positive emotions. I'm taking that class next semester, and I'm excited about positive psychology. That is just huge. So there's need for interventions to be designed carefully and to understand the context and culture of the settings in which they're implemented. They said something earlier about like kids that are helping others in like trauma situations or in like disaster situations. The people that were on the lines helping others, that they actually could have a negative effect from the helping because it was so traumatic to them. And even those who were, like behind the scenes helping, just because they were part of that and peripherally exposed to the disaster, that can have a negative effect on them. And it just kind of repeats itself. Researchers should also pay attention to exploring the association between social media use and pro-social behavior in children and youth. We know that social media can be bad. We know that the internet can be bad sometimes, but it can also be used for good. And I think that's something that people who use the internet and social media should try more at. So again, most of those studies were from the United States, and they recommend future studies. It was really interesting. I'd like to see more on, like, I wonder what the why is behind women being less pro-social. Is it just in young people? Again, I was one of those young people who was not a very nice person. I was very selfish and very confused, but I am now, and I think most women are more likely to help as adults. I wonder if that's just for young people. Anyway, that's my exploration. Thank you.